Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the space between ideas. I'm Blank Gates. Wow. So I feel like I'm ready. I think we got something here. So what happened is earlier in the yesterday and today I've been working on this thing about calibration documents. You see, it is my opinion that when you're working with these LLMs, you have to have a series of calibration documents. And the calibration documents, they turn like see, the thing is that, people what they say is they're like, "Hey, are you using ChatGPT?" And I would say, "No, I'm not using ChatGPT." So, would you say, "Okay, so you're using Google Gemini?" No, I'm not using Google Gemini. Are you using Claude? No, I'm not using Claude. So what are you using? It's like, are you using so in Canada, in Alberta, when I was a kid, we used to have two electricity companies. And these two electricity companies were like Epcor and Enmax. At the time, they changed the system, so it was like owned by the government, and then they um, wanted to privatize the electricity system. So then I had a job when I was like 18 years old. I was knocking on doors, and I was like, "Hey, I'm from Enmax, and you want to sign up with a contract? So you could sign up with a 1 year contract, or 2 years, or 5 years." And then people are like, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Well, basically, with your energy company, you have to make a choice, and you'll automatically be moved onto one of these new systems. So if you don't do anything, it's fine. You'll just start getting a contract. You'll start getting a bill from either Nmax or Epcor." And they're like, "Okay, so I just don't need to do anything." And I said, "Yeah, but now in order to incentivize you to choose one company or another, they are starting to offer some fixed rates. You could sign up right here to a contract, and then, for example, do you think that the price of energy is going to increase in the next 5 years or decrease?" They're like, "I think the price will increase. Prices are always increasing." Like, okay, so then if you think price is going to increase, then here's an opportunity to lock down the current price for the next 5 years. Boom. And like some people, they understood what was going on. They watched the news. They were waiting for it. Like some people, I knocked on the door and they're like, "Okay, give me the paperwork." They signed it, and it was like 2 minutes. We're talking about utility. So what I'm saying is we've almost reached the point now with ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude that it for the majority of the tasks that you're going to be working on, the general purpose LLM has already reached, like, it's good enough, right? So it can do anything you need it to do. Now, it's not good at like multiple processes. So and it's also not good at um, some specific types of processes. So it still has like a limited amount of context. And this is why I choose Google Gemini, because it has a bigger token context window, which means it can follow a longer conversation. And since I'm designing software, I'm using the LLM to help me to create prompts to work with Cursor and Windsurf and Replete. So I need a longer context window. I need at least a window that can handle an entire sprint, or at least half a sprint. So for me, the context window is the king. If it's the same price, give me the one with the biggest context window, because they're all basically the same. That's it. It's a utility. It's game over. So, like, the only decision for me, it's not quality. They already reached the level of quality that I need them to reach. It can already do the things that I need it to do. So what's the advantage? The advantage is context window. What's going to be the next advantage? Like, what is it going to do? What is it going to do? Like, why would I move to another service? Now, of course, I've been considering Claude because Claude has a better system for incorporating MCPs. Now, I haven't started doing research. I haven't started going deeply into the MCP situation. So, what I'd really like to do is I'd like to produce an MVP. And after I finish creating the MVP based on using Google Gemini, then the answer that I'm looking for is what's better, Replete, Windsurf, or Cursor, based on using the same prompting tool. I'm not the prompting tool. Gemini is the prompting tool. And why is Gemini the prompting tool? Because it has a bigger token context window. All right. So, but then I'm not really using Gemini. This actually goes back to ChatGPT. Remember when you could make custom GPTs? I didn't really understand what custom GPTs were at the time. Like, I made some custom GPTs, but I couldn't really figure out why the custom GPT was better than just using, like, I didn't see an advantage. Every time I opened up ChatGPT, I would create a new chat, and then I would be working with somebody that I'm talking to in general, like with my coaching practice. They'd be talking about some situation. I would use it to do research. I would use it to brainstorm ideas. I'd use it as an assistant to my process. But now I have a clear process. What is it? I call it Arrowhead. Arrowhead is this, the design of the concept that I'm trying to put into a piece of software. Well, okay, so what does that mean? It means that if I'm going to be using a custom GPT, it's specifically because I want that custom GPT to have these questions preloaded. Man, why doesn't it allow me share my screen? All right, I'm just going to share my whole screen. All right, so now it's working. So the reason I need a custom GPT is because I want this preloaded. But I don't want just this preloaded. Like, I would want it to, like, because what I'm doing is I want the custom GPT to be able to answer me in a certain way. And so when I say, okay, I want to do some brainstorming, then it will automatically load the brainstorming questions down here. When I want to talk about objectives, it'll automatically load the objective questions here. If we want to do a touch base here, it'll automatically load the touch base. And then in some situations, why am I using AI? Because like I don't really want to do the thinking. So I'll just like talk to it and say, okay, so I want you to load up the brainstorming module, and then I want you to come up with the answers on by yourself according to some, whatever factors. And then it'll populate the window with potential answers. And then I'll say, okay, now I want you to use the choose module and help me to make some decision. And then it'll use the choose module, and then we get an objective. So the result of this is to get an objective. Okay, so now we have the objective. Now I want you to lay out the objective using the objectives module, and then from that, from laying out the objectives module, I want you to create a list of tasks. Okay, it creates the list of tasks. Okay, so now I want you to reformat that so I can upload it to my ClickUp or my Monday.com, or what is the other one, Trello. It creates an information package, and then I upload it into my ClickUp or my Trello or my Monday.com. That's it. So I could do a custom GPT, which does that. And yeah, so I could send you like one document or maybe two documents, and you just upload those documents to your ChatGPT, or you could upload it to Claude, or you could upload it to Gemini. It doesn't matter which one you upload it to. Once the LLM reads the information, then it will automatically calibrate the window to be able to perform this action. Now, so there's really no reason for me to create my app. You just calibrate your LLM, and then you go through whatever processes you want, and it'll just spit out a package of information. You're going to upload that package into your ClickUp, and you're done. That's it. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be like keeping track of your projects on ClickUp anyways. So why would you need to save information within my app? Now, yeah, maybe there is a use case. I don't know. So basically, what happens is you're going to have with my app, you have a list of projects. So then you're going to keep track of your projects here, and then in each project there's also going to be modules, so you can keep track of your history in here, and then anytime you can click, like let's say that you want to make some changes to something, then you could go back into the history and make some changes. You'll have like a clear history of all your projects. You'll have a clear history of all of the decisions you've made, so you'll understand why do we have this list of tasks in ClickUp, what's the next list of tasks in ClickUp. So what I'm saying is you may want to save the work that you've done in the brainstorming process of creating objectives and vision statements and projects. And that's what the app's all about. Okay. So the next stage at some future date, I'm going to use Claude, and then I'm going to use like MCPs and figure out what's that all about, because right now I'm not really enjoying the cut and paste between Google Gemini and Cursor and Windsurf and all that. All right, now back to the task at hand. So why is this video entitled? Well, I guess you can't see the title, so it's not entitled anything. Why is it called Final Calibration System Comparing Options Training ChatGPT? Training ChatGPT is because a lot of people don't really use Gemini yet, so training ChatGPT is a better clickable title so people can be like, okay, I know what it means, training ChatGPT. That's interesting. Comparing options, what are we talking about? Final calibration system. Because I made a couple of other videos about this topic recently. Now, what's happened is I created two windows. Okay, so here, hi, I'm building a software project. I'm using IDEs. Specifically, I'm using Cursor, Windsurf, Replete, and these. Okay, anyways. So I have this long prompt, and basically what I said is I have this system of like 15 calibration documents. And I'm not happy with this set of 15 calibration documents. And also, it's interesting because, I just keep making more and more documents, and like I don't know why I'm creating these documents and what are they for. It's like piecemeal. Anyways, I don't want to upload 15 documents anymore. So I said maybe we could reduce the count by like one or two. Like, how could we reduce the number of documents? So then this one makes a plan, and then this one makes a plan. So I got two different um, guys that making the plan. So I upload all the documents on both windows. Eventually, I tell the left one to become like an architect. I want it to act like the architect in order to create a new set of documents, and it did a pretty good job. So basically, at the end of the day, when it finished, it asked me to download a couple documents. It actually only made 3 documents. So this is the first one. I'll show you over here. So here, this one's called New Calibration Liaison. No, this is the wrong one. So this one's called New Calibration Architect. Now, what it did was it created actually a project blueprint, management guidance application. So it made a project blueprint. So it's just about the project. And then we have the project operations handbook. So the project blueprint is like, what is the project all about? And then the project operations handbook is how am I using these LLMs and these IDEs like Cursor and Windsurf in order to create the project. The updated master calibration is actually an instruction manual for me to tell me like what's up. So it basically only made 2 documents. Now, after it finished making the 2 documents, then it said, "Oh, you also need to upload some of those old documents." And I was like, "What upload documents?" So okay, so there's the 3 documents that it created. So it's like, okay, I made these 2 new documents. And then I was like, what do you mean? Okay, so like, what do I upload? I said, I'm a bit confused here. It seems like you've given me 3 consolidated documents, and after these documents, I'm supposed to upload some more documents, but I don't understand because I wanted it to create all the right documents. All right, so it's like, okay, here's the 2 documents. The third document is like only it's for you, it's for the user, it's for you. You don't upload the checklist to the AI. And it's like, what is all right. And then it said you also need to upload some of these extra documents. So these extra documents are actually referring to documents in our current set. So I was like, okay. So you want me to keep the key decisions document the way it is. And you want me to keep the MVP Sprint 3 document, Sprint 2 document. And it also wants me to re-upload Liaison AI workflow and Architect AI workflow. So again, the question is, do you work with AI? And I say, what do you mean? Do I work with AI? It's like saying, do you work with animals? It's like, well, what do you mean? Do you work with animals? Do you have an animal? Yes, but it's a specific type of animal. Okay, so what's the AI that you work with? See, I don't work with Google Gemini. I don't work with ChatGPT. I don't work with Claude because I don't believe that they're not that different from each other. It's now a utility. It's like, do you work with electricity? It's like, of course I work with electricity. There's electricity that comes to my house, just like there's internet that comes to my house, just like there's AI that comes to my house. It's just it's just a utility. Okay, so like how do you work with AI? All right. I've created this concept of liaison and this huh? I've created this context. I've created this context of liaison and architect. So when I use AI, I'm using liaison. When I use architect, when I use AI, I'm using architect. It's like if you build a robot, at some point you're going to be building a certain type of purpose for that. Like, right, like for example, if you're building a car, Like I got this one guy I'm talking to, he's from India and he builds robots. And so I'm like, "So what kind of robots do you build?" He's like, I was like, "What's your dream robot? What if you could build if you could work for a company, what company would you work?" And he's like, "I would work for Volvo." Like, "Volvo?" It's like, "Yeah, they have a new robot, which is like for it's an autonomous driving vehicle it's like a lorry. It's like a truck. It's a cargo truck. Like it pulls trailers full of goods." And I'm like, "That's not a robot. That's a car. That's a truck." And he's like, "Yeah, but it's like it's an autonomous moving vehicle. Like every robot has a purpose. This one just happens to have wheels on it and it pulls things like we used to have the." So before I thought of like a robot as you put the robot inside of the truck and it drives the truck. And now it's like, no. Driverless vehicle, you combine the two. There's no cabin for a robot. The whole thing is a robot. That's the robot. And it's like, oh, okay, I see. So we don't say robot anymore. Like it's an autonomous driving vehicle, or it's a chef, or it's a what's its purpose? So robotics is now becoming like a is becoming like a utility. The question is, what is the robot? What does the robot do? So when I talk about AI, I'm talking about liaison. I got my good buddy liaison and my good buddy architect. I understand them. I've created personalities for them. In fact, next step, I'm wondering if I should give liaison more of a personality. Like the question is, do you have anyone in history that you might like to like communicate with on a daily basis? So, for example, like Mark Twain was kind of like, you know, when did Mark Twain live? All right, so this guy lived in, he died in 1910. When was he born? 1835, right? So there you go. Because you could theoretically like ask the AI to find like a bunch of um, stuff that Mark Twain wrote, and then because we have access to what he wrote, it means that we could ask the AI to mimic Mark Twain when it's talking to me, right? So I haven't gone that far. I haven't created personalities yet, but I have created functions. So I have a liaison function and I have an architect function. All right, so this guy's done. So he just basically he made two documents, and then he said you also have to upload these other documents. So here it is. We got one, two documents. Then you also have to upload one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. So it's a total of 9 documents. Liaison, on the other hand, Liaison actually did the same work, and then I don't know. I felt like I kind of had some problems with Liaison along the way, but then at the end of the day, it produced it, and then started to figure out okay what it was talking about. All right. So at the end of the day, Liaison created two consolidated documents, and then it asked me to upload 4 additional documents. So it has a 6 document system. The other one was a 9 document system. And then I told both players that I was going to do this. So I said, listen, I want you to the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna upload the documents that the other LLM gave me as its output for the new series of documents that I could use to calibrate the LLM to help me work on this project. And the calibration documents would be new calibration documents that would replace the old one. They would be able to do the same thing. Anyway, so you already know what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to create a new set of documents. And then I wanted to compare. So he's like, so okay, so just so I know, right? So I'm talking about the 2 documents that I created and those other standalone documents that you had from before. And then the way we're going to compare it is the best for creating a future liaison and architect, best for helping you move forward in the project, achieving maximum quality, incurring the fewest mistakes, ensuring the easiest process, ensuring the LM fully understands the work to be done in the path forward. Yes, exactly. Perfect. So liaison is still on top of it. There's one more note, whatever that was. All right. So then I start uploading the 9 documents. And for this guy, I started uploading whatever it is, like the 6 documents or something. All right, so it makes one consolidated list of the documents. All right, so then I upload all the documents, and then the question is evaluation. So now we get to the evaluation. Okay, I have the 6th from final document. So this is architect. And okay, I have the ninth and final document. All right, so here it is. Here's the final situation. Let's start with architect. So what happens with architect is it gives the full set. Okay, evaluation, the decision of the absolute winner. I will now evaluate the three sets based on the established criteria, keeping in mind your goal to calibrate future liaison and architect, do the project with maximum quality, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so set A, the original set of 15 documents, highest and its raw granular source, all details are present. Clarity and organization, potentially lower due to information being spread across many documents, risk of redundancy, or slight inconsistencies between the related documents if not perfectly managed. Lowest for efficiency for calibration. So that was like, what? Wow, because that really changed my mind. Because previously the LLMs were telling me that this was like the highest way was to just give it little bits and pieces at a time. High risk for AI missing connections or getting lost in the details, right? So I was using like a substandard system. Wow, hard to maintain it. Now B, so here's my recommended set. Okay, so this is what Liaison did. He did 2 consolidated documents, plus he was recommending 6 additional documents. Completeness and accuracy high. The 2 consolidated documents aims to faithfully synthesize 8 of your core definition process documents, and 7 supporting documents are your originals, ensuring accuracy and dynamic specialized content. Clarity and organization. Effectiveness for calibration, good. The 2 core consolidated documents provide a strong foundation quickly. The 7 supporting documents are the most dynamic and specialized and would likely be needed in any scenario for the full current context. Actionability for AI personas, high. Support for project goals, good. Maintainability. Consolidated docs need careful updates if foundational elements change, but these are usually more stable. Separate lessons learned are easily updated individually. Okay, now, so this is the first time we're seeing Architect is now going to compare these other 2 systems of calibration with its own new, with its competitor. So just so you remember, the liaison is 2 consolidated documents plus only 4 other supporting documents, a total of 6. So it's actually the least amount of documentation. Now it says completeness and accuracy high. It's a very comprehensive. The project blueprint is clear. The team operation manual is also clear in its structure, but it's very long due to including the full text of both lessons learned documents. This might make it slightly less digestible, harder for the AI to quickly find specific high-level process rule versus a detailed lesson. And that's actually the biggest difference between the 2. I think the rest is pretty much the same. It's just that that architect thinks that we should upload the maybe it's easier if we look at it from here. All right, so here's architect's documents. All right, so there's 2 original documents that it created, and then key decisions was based on a document that I had from before. You can see these are the original numbers. So it wants document number 7, it wants sprint number 3, it wants sprint number 2 review, it wants document number 10, 11, and number 7 again. Yeah, oh yeah, there's 2 7s. If we go in, you can see it here. It would probably be in here. No. All right, so you can see this one is number 7, but then for some reason I have another number 7 in the current step calibration. So it's just, I just haven't gone back and fixed it yet. All right, and then the liaison recommended documents is 6. So those 2 original documents, they both want key decisions. They both want project continuation state. They both want sprint number 3. They both want review. So the big difference is these 2 here. And this other one, the architect wants the simplified brand guidelines. So liaison puts these 3 documents into the first 2 documents. So if you remove the last 3 documents, sprint 2 is the same, MVP is the same, number 7 is the same, key decisions is the same. All right, so the only difference is these 3 documents, liaison decided to put it inside of these first 2 documents. That's it. Now, all right. The crazy thing is this, the decision, the absolute winner. This is a close call for both set B, my recommendation, and C, the competitor's recommendation, are significant improvements over A in terms of efficiency and clarity for AI collaboration. Both successfully consolidate fundamental information. The primary difference lies in the handling of the lessons learned documents and consequently the size granular of the main operational documents and the total document count. Set C excels in having the lowest document count. This is a strong advantage for initial upload. The team operations manual is an all-in-one for how the project runs, including detailed experimental lessons. B is more modular for the lessons learned, keeping those two separate. Easier independent update for dynamic knowledge bases. More targeted primary AI and specific role. So it's actually recommending that you upload only one document to liaison and one document to architect. Now, the craziest thing is okay, here's the most important full understanding of work to be done or to do. B and C are very strong here because they're main consolidation documents, comprehensive based on some rich source material, including key decisions, blah, blah, blah. The key is how the LLM actually processes very long documents versus slightly more numerous but focused documents. Sometimes an LLM can get lost or give undue weight to certain sections of an extremely long document. Shorter or more targeted documents, like separate lessons learned, can ensure specific tactical knowledge is clearly presented. While set C's lower document count is attractive, the modular and targeted nature of keeping the lessons learned documents separate offers a slight edge in terms of long-term maintainability. These documents potentially more focused on calibration. Now, however, the user specifically asks to base your decision on the amount of documents that would be needed to reach the outcome of the goal. Given the emphasis on the amount of documents, acknowledging that advanced LLMs can process long documents, the absolute winner is C. So the only issue here that the architect is concerned with is when you have these long documents, the LLM won't necessarily be able to process that. Now, if we go into now I'm on the liaison page. So when we go into the liaison, the question is, does it recommend itself or the other one? All right. Evaluation criteria. Highest document count, lowest document count, medium count. Comprehensive but potentially overwhelming due to the diffusion of information and possible redundancies. So this one also doesn't like my original set, and I don't like my original set, and that's why I went through with this. I think this is my system, and then competitor system aims for high comprehensiveness within the consolidated documents. Is strong and comparable to mine. Their project operations handbook covers roles and processes well. However, keeping lessons learned separate means the AI has to synthesize that information from additional files. Advantage, my set. Next one is help the user move forward actionable. Can support progression, but finding specific information might be slower for AI. The clear separation into blueprint and manual, supplemented by current state, should make it very actionable for AI to understand the role. Also supports progression. The main difference is how AI ingests lessons learned. Slight advantage for my set. Quality and mistake reduction. High detail, but consistency across files is a risk for maintaining accuracy. By consolidating, there's better chance for maintaining consistency. Keeping KDL, project state, sprint plans, standalone is good. The main risk here is the project operations handbook standalone offer conflicting guidance, or if the AI prioritizes older documents over for some reason. Advantage, my set. So again, it's always handling lessons learned. Conclusion, the competitor set makes good progress with the two consolidated documents. The application blueprint is structurally very similar to mine and effective. Main drawback is the keeping the lessons learned. Handbook, newer version of the significant here. The context for confusion to AI. So it thinks that AI could be confused. Referencing outdated processes or role nuances. My blueprint set achieves similar consolidation for foundational information, and it goes further by integrating the latest roles and the detailed lessons learned for the AI personas. This ensures that the AI calibrated with it gets a holistic and internally consistent understanding of not just the process, but also the accumulated wisdom of how to execute those processes effectively from a single authoritative source of operation. The reduction of 6 core documents is also significant win for easy calibration. Right. So I like the way that this liaison talks. I like the way it thinks. I like the way everything that it's doing. So it says, I am the winner. And it's confident in its own and why. And then it gives all these specific reasons for why it's better. Now, why stop there? So I said, well, would you make any changes to your project blueprint or team operations manual that now that you've seen the competitor to make an absolute winner? Would you recommend a different set of documents that you didn't edit, like when the competitor recommends some additional documents, would you consider also combining some of the additional documents in a single document so that in the future we would primarily keep the project blueprint, the team operations manual, and the same, though perhaps make some small upgrades while maintaining one document that keeps the history, key decisions. Okay, so what I said basically was, okay, so you got one, which is the project, right? The project blueprint. So that's like my app. This is the project blueprint. It's like what is going on with this project. Number two is the team operations manual. So it means like we got liaisons on the team, we got architects on the team, and then we're working with Windsurf, and we're working with Cursor, and we're working with Replete, right? So these are the team members. And then there's me, I'm the project manager. All right. So we got a team operations manual, and then we got the project blueprint. Perfect. Okay. Now, the thing is that can we maintain one document that keeps the history? So I want the history of decisions and the sprint reviews. So the work that's being done, let's put that in one document. And then the fourth and final document will lay out the future sprints and also the current state. So I want one document that says this is exactly where we are right now and this is where we're headed. Okay, so this is called a map. That the project map, it like helps us to see where we are right now and where we're going. And then we got the project history. So it means how far have we gone so far. So that's all I want. I want, okay, so that we got the overall project blueprint, we got the team, we got where have we been, we got where are we going. That's it. That's what I want. So it says, okay, you're pushing the absolute for the absolute optimal set. That's exactly the right mindset. Seeing the competitor's approach, your new suggestions for further consolidation are helpful. Let's refine to create an absolute winner set. What I make would I make changes to my blueprint and team operations manual after seeing the competitor? Yes, some minor structural changes to the project blueprint would make it even stronger, inspired by some good aspects of the competitor's application blueprint, enhancing this, that, the other. So it just has a couple of different things to optimize. And then team operations manual, I stand by my decision to integrate these directly. And then I also maintain that including older subseeded versions of the role document is not so good. No major changes to my team operations manual. I would recommend a different set of standalone documents than initially, addressing your new consolidated idea. Yes, your further consolidation standalone documents for current operations and historical tracking, very insightful and can lead to an even more streamlined set. Let's refine that. So by combining this and then recommend keeping this and then combining this, and then here's my new proposed documents. So the absolute winner is the final set. So core calculate. So, all right. So we have 5 documents. That's it. Then I said, okay, so let's print them out. So here's document number 1. Here's document number 2. Let me just make sure that this is correct. So all this stuff here, like all these screens, are no longer necessary. Why? Because I already saved all the new documents. All right, so here is the new set of documents. How can we do this the fastest way? There. All right, so the liaison recommendation, thank you, and you're done. And then here also, so 15 doc calibration. What we're going to do is we're going to turn it into a toggle list. Then we're going to take this whole set. Oopsie daisies. And we're going to put her in the 15. We're going to close that up. There. So now you can see we got the liaisons recommendations, we got architects recommendations, we got the 15 dot calibration, and this is history. In fact, there. And here we go. Here's our new 5 documents. So we got our project blueprint, we got our team operations manual, we got our key decisions log, we got our active sprint operations, and we don't have our last one. All right, let's just check to make sure that these are all full. We go to the very last page, and then we go to the very last page. So we got 6.6 there. All right, it's good. Document number 2. End of the operation. Oh, I guess it has an end of operations. Does it say? It doesn't say end, but it does have 3 little dots. All right, so it reprinted this document with 3 little dots. The last one is implementing. The very last status, implementing all 3 environments can. Implementing all 3 environments can. Okay, the status. Okay, good. So it's got that one. Number 4, end of active sprint operations. Okay, so this is the current sprint, what's going on. Now the very last, okay, and then finally it's document number 5, which I don't think I uploaded. No, I didn't upload it yet. There. So those are all 5 documents. And the last thing I said to this guy was, what the heck is this? What? Whoop, whoop. Active sprint operations. It starts out with sprint review 2. I guess it's this one. Yeah, sprint review 2. Okay. It's this document. We didn't check. End of sprint review. End of sprint review 2. Okay, good. Okay, so then the last thing it says, okay, I've been working on sprint 3 for a while. Will the new liaison know what the exact next prompt will be to continue, or should I ask the IDE to prompt liaison with the last few steps? It says this is an excellent question. Yes, the new liaison AI properly calibrated with this 5 document core set will know what exact next prompt should be to continue with sprint 3. This is why. Then it says exactly why from the set of documents where we are exactly. So this is the design to make the handovers even to the AI instance as smooth as possible. There we go. So we're done. And I feel confident enough. Now, at the end of the day, basically what I'm saying is when you think about a tree comes from a seed. And the question is, what does a seed look like for calibration documents when you're working with AI? So, of course, we were saying AI is a what? AI is a utility, meaning it's ubiquitous. There's no point in arguing about the quality of the LLM. The only thing that matters now is the context window. All right, we got calibration, we got this, that, the other. We got like a lot of stuff that really doesn't matter. I think it's called final calibration. I think we're going to change it from final calibration to arrowhead calibration. There we go. And then the other ones, they're just going to be called history. So there should be history and other. Uh-uh. All right, so I was talking about seeds, right? So a seed is what produces the tree. And it means that if you want a certain type of tree, then you have to have a certain type of seed. Just like if you want to have a certain kind of animal, you have to combine a certain type of other kinds of animals. You're not going to get a cow if you are trying to impregnate a dog. And what we're talking about is personas. We're talking about how do you turn your AI into something that is usable. So how do you turn the utility of LLM coming into your home into something that is like a robot, like is an entity? It's something that you can use, something you can talk to, something that's useful for a very specific purpose. How do you create a custom GPT? My argument is you need to have a project blueprint, which explains the overall project. You need to have a team operations manual, which explains the various personas that you're going to be using during the project. And this is specifically what your LLM will be. Not electricity, but lamp. Not electricity, but light. Not electricity, but not gas, but heater. Not internet, but email. And then a log for key decisions. And then this one is where are we going right now? And this is where did we come from so far? That's it. So now in the future, at the end of each sprint, then I'm going to say, okay, so we just ended sprint number 3. All right. So I need you to, based on what we've done, I need you to upload. So, okay, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, all right, so I'm going to upload that. First I'll say, do you have access? Do you still have access to the beginning of this conversation? Do you still have access to the beginning? I don't know how to spell beginning of this conversation. Do you need me to upload the 5 calibration docs to have full access to the documents' content? Based on the work we've completed since uploading those docs, what specifically would you add or edit from that set of documentation so that when I calibrate a new AI instance, I will get a new liaison and new architect with the changes and a new context window to continue working from where we left off. That's it. So now you can see that this is a process. So this is an automated process. So boom, 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 boom. I upload this. In fact, I could even start with this. So I could just upload this. I could say, okay, at the end of our working together in this context window, I will ask the following questions. If at any time you near the extent of your available token context window and require a new window with the documents I will provide uploaded once again to calibrate this custom session for our work together. Please provide a warning signal and trigger the following questions so that we can proceed with document revision in preparation for calibrating a new AI instance. There. That's the game right there. I don't think that's the way I want to do it. First prompt. Come on. All right, so it's 6 prompts then. 6 prompts. Oh, I gotta go. I got a meeting. I gotta go. Bye bye.